Okay, so I just finished my 2 hours of English classes, and I've just been very excited to come back on to continue discussing what we were talking about before in terms of pursuing happiness and why that's the poison of our present day humanity. It sounds very counterintuitive to think that the pursuit of happiness is not fruitful, and it's because we pursue happiness that we will never ever achieve happiness. It's something that I actually only something that dawned on me just yesterday, and I've been constantly thinking about it, pondering it, so that I can personally have a better understanding of it. Because just understanding a concept is not enough to dissolve all the misconceptions, or the very subtle attachments, and all the attachments that we have to our conceptions that are binding us to discontentment. I've actually felt a lot freer and a lot happier since I've realized that the pursuit of happiness is ultimately not fruitful and impossible to achieve. It's actually a very difficult concept to discuss, and even a more difficult concept to understand, because it's so intuitive for us to pursue happiness. If we don't pursue happiness, then what is it all about? What do we do if we don't pursue happiness? And this is what I want to get into in this current video. I don't know how long it's going to be for. I don't know if anyone's going to view this, because in a sense it's only just me rambling on about my personal realization. And my realization is going to work for me, but everyone will need to find their own truth, and everyone will have to practice their own way and pursue their own journey in order to realize their own truth. I'm actually going to be very cautious to use the word happiness, because there is two types of happiness. The one that is an abstract concept that we place at a future point in time, that is the goal of humanity. That is not the happiness that I am talking about, because that happiness is something that is abstract and conceptual, that we do not experience and we will never experience as long as we are trying to pursue it. The happiness that we can realize is the state, the emotional state that we realize right now. And we can realize this type of happiness right now only when we forgo the pursuit of happiness. Again, I want to just briefly touch on why the pursuit of happiness is ultimately the poison, and why the pursuit of happiness will forever separate us from happiness. The reason why is because whenever we want to be happy, we are immediately accepting a position of discontentment, and that position will forever remain as long as we create that duality of joy and suffering, of happiness and discontentment. As long as we want to be happy, we will forever remain in a state of unhappiness. So, what happens if we forego the pursuit of happiness? What then? What happens, and how do we do it? Immediately, what happens is that we no longer chase an abstract concept of happiness. And so we immediately remove ourselves from the present state of discontentment. What happens after that, you will see for yourself. How do you see for yourself? You will see for yourself what the feeling of removing yourself from discontentment, what that feeling is like when you actually stop chasing happiness. Again, very counterintuitive to discuss the idea of stop wanting to be happy. But by stop wanting to be happy is the only time you can uh, attain happiness, but not happiness in the abstract concept, in the concept where you place it somewhere in the future that you are trying to, it's like a carrot on the stick that you are trying to reach, because that concept of happiness you will never attain, because it's not real. It's only something that you're trying to move towards, but you will never achieve, because it's in a future point in time and it's a abstract concept. The happiness that you will attain is from a position of acceptance of whatever is. Accept what? Accept whatever you are experiencing in the present moment, and then making peace with that, with deep acceptance. What happens when you do that, you will see for yourself. But it is happiness, but not in an abstract sense, but in a real sense, because you actually experience it right here and now, as opposed to imagining a concept of happiness that you hope to achieve in the future point in time. So, how do we stop pursuing happiness? Is by accepting the totality of the present moment. By not wanting anything to be different, we forego the pursuit of happiness. That's because when we pursue happiness, when we want to be happy, we are not content with the present moment and we want to change it. We want to change from dissatisfaction to happiness. We want to change from discontentment to joy. And so it's impossible, because we assume a position of discontentment and then we try to chase something and we try to change what we have now into something we wish for it to be, chasing an abstract concept. But if we are able to immediately, entirely accept the present moment, then whatever we are experiencing right now, we are okay with it. We don't change it. Then what we are experiencing right now, we make peace with it entirely. Then we don't describe and express anything in terms of happiness and sadness, good and bad, like and dislike, because we are no longer comparing. We are no longer living in a dualistic reality. Whatever is happening right now is okay. Now and forever, whatever we are feeling, whatever we are thinking, whatever we are sensing, whatever we are experiencing on every single plane, we are okay, and we don't wish for it to be different. And then not only do we transcend duality of like and dislike, happiness and sadness, we also transcend the duality of time, of the present, past and future. Because what is happening right now, we don't need to change it anymore. Very easy to say, but there is always going to be a very subtle inclination to want to be happy. But every time we can observe that thought creep in, that is exactly the time where we have to shine our light of awareness and then transmute it, transform it into acceptance. Whenever we feel that we want to be happy, we have to immediately replace it with acceptance. We have to understand first, it's so important, because without this understanding, we can never achieve anything. We can never begin to accept if we don't first understand that the cause of discontentment is the pursuit of happiness. If we don't see that, we will forever chase happiness. But by forever chasing happiness, we are forever trying to control our environment, control other people outside, control ourselves, change things, work towards things. And then there will never be a state of effortlessness, nor will there ever be a state of permanence and eternality. And that is only when we can attain a level of effortless, eternal contentment will we be able to really enjoy happiness. But not happiness in the abstract sense, but happiness in the real sense. Give me some time to think about this concept some more as I experience it in my everyday life, and whatever insight I realize, I will share with those who are interested. Please like and subscribe, because this is what this channel is about. Being happy, but not in the abstract sense, but in the real sense. Okay? Take care, everyone. Much love. Peace for now. Bye-bye.